as you know by now, Nokko is the new frame that has dropped with the current Warframe update, and, surprisingly, he's quite fun to play. At first, I wasn't sure about it, but for this build I'm about to give you, it's pretty fun, and pretty hilarious what you can do to acolytes. First things first, abilities. I need to just be off the screen for a bit. There I am. Alright, so we'll go over the shards later, but we'll go over his abilities first. I will give you a brief summary on what they can do. It's been a bit, do not judge me. So, mushroom number 1. I personally use this as mainly just a way to put enemies to sleep, and a way for me to kind of revive myself. So, let me just dive into this little bit of a tidbit. So, if you die, you get turned to a small mushroom, and if you have a mushroom on the field, you can just run into it as a spreadling, is what the smaller mushroom's called. I'm still referring to it as a baby mushroom. So, yeah, as a baby mushroom, if there's any mushroom on the field, you can just run into it, and you'll just fully revive, and you have 8 seconds of immunity. This, like I said, puts them to sleep. You can jump on it to get higher air, but hey, that only works if you're using a slam attack with a melee. Mushroom number 2, I basically call this energy regen mushroom. Basically what I do with it. It also does give you a buff, but main purpose, easy way to generate energy just by jumping on it. Now, his third ability I got rid of personally, so I won't hover over it because it's my helmet. It turns you into a small spreadling and makes you immune. It's basically a panic button, but it's kind of useless, so his third is what your helmet forever. His fourth is a bounty ball. Yeah, there's not much to say about that one. It's a bouncy ball with toxin. Yes, this thing has toxin built into it. So it's a pretty, toxic bouncy ball. That is bad. It kill me now. His passive states, if Nokko takes fatal damage, he transforms into a spreadling, and you can revive yourself off a mushroom. Any mushroom on the field, so either that's big mushroom or energy regen mushroom. Keep that in mind. That's why we got rid of the free, and why the free is completely useless, in my opinion. I'm gonna put myself back on the screen. Alright, so let's go over the shards really fast. So Nokko is a pretty heavy boy on ability spam. So I'm rocking 2 yellow tile floor shards for cost speed. I am sorry, but you can't really see behind my big fat head, but we don't talk about that. And I am running 1 tile green shard for corrosive stacks. That's what I was meant to say. And then in your flex slots here, where the 2 reds are, I'm personally running ability duration. I will go over why in a bit. Now, abilities you can use on your free, as I said. To me, the free is very useless. And how we play them, you either want a group, or you want a damage buff. Now, just by saying those 2 things, you'll think, okay, Nidus's lava will work. No, I am sorry to break it to you. We do not want to ragdoll the enemy. And then you're probably thinking, Mag's pull, that still ragdolls the enemy. Chalk that up, we either use chorus and snare, or use a damage buff, just roar, the most powerful damage buff there is. I'm personally using roar over my free. You can, for this build I'm going to give you, rock chorus and snare. That is also a solid option. Now, that being said, let me go over the mods. I am basically running a spam for Nokko. You're probably wondering, why the 4? So, as you know, I said Nokko's ball has built-in toxin, and this build revolves around his 4. We are using growing power for ability strength. Use prime sure-footed so we don't get knocked on our ass. We are using flow just to increase our energy capacity. Overextended ability range. I was about to say strength. I read the wrong one. We want more range for the ball and the AoEs. Mushroom AoE. Stretch for the
Navigation
ability
has been
range.
updated with new invasions. Chaos
Yes!
is spreading.
Jesus, fucking jump scare. Who knew Warframe was a horror game, right? Anywho, until we were rudely interrupted by Space Mom, but stretch for the ability range. I am rocking an Umbral Intensify. I will touch on that in a bit. More range with Azure, Augur, whatever you want to call it. I call it Azure. Azure Reach. Transient Fortitude for ability strength. We're not too worried about the duration being cut down. As you can see, we have some pretty heavy duration over here, which is great. Blind, there we go, English is failing me, I am sorry. Blind Rage for ability strength. Like, ability efficiency isn't really needed here, so we don't need to worry about that. And then Archon Continuity. I will touch on this in a second. We are using Arcane Crepuscular? That's the way to say it. When you're invisible, you gain 30% ability strength. How the fuck are you getting this to trigger? Well, there are two ways. This is where we'll touch on the weapons. So there's method number one. Most of you will be familiar with this method, and some of you may not, and some of you may hate it. I, personally, hate it myself. We are using... Where is it? Here we are. You can either use Umbra's Katana. If you backstab someone with this katana, you go invisible. And then, as you know, Invis only breaks when you shoot a gun, not ability spam. So, it's up to you if you want to rock this. If not, we have our standard generic Shade. So, Shade will keep us Invis, so that would be great. If you want to go down this route. So, personally, Invis is great, since Nokko is not going to have a lot of health. And we don't always want to die and have to run around and get a shroom. So, Shade's gonna keep us in this. And yeah, really. Now, the only weapon you're going to need if you're not rocking the katana is Asphyxia's secondary, which is a really great grouping tool. So, this is why I touched on two methods of how you can play this build. Either you can use a damage buff called Roar, or you can run Chorus and Snare. So this will break your invis. But it doesn't really matter too much. You'll just lose the damage buff, and then you'll be re-cloaked with Shade. Or if you're rocking the katana, you can just like stab someone, like backstab someone, then be back in invis. So yeah. There's a lot of going on here. Mainly, you want to stay invis, but grouping tool, really great, so you can just nuke everyone and there's no one really alive regardless. So, it's really up to you there. Either rock chorus and snare or over roar into your third ability, or rock the grouping tool, and then we'll touch on the other arcane. Now, I'm all over the place. It's been a bit for recording, so I'm sorry. So, the second arcane is on finish it kills. 15% chance of becoming invis. Arcane tricky. So you can always keep up your invis. So, crepuscular and tricky. Don't judge this one. This account does not have a max tricky. My build crafting account does, not this account. So keep that in mind. This is just to extend our invis and keep our damage buff up. Now, like I said, a lot of you may not like this, but it's up to you. So you don't really have to rock weapons if you don't want to. Especially if you're rocking in snare. So, the other things I'm going to touch on here. Reason why I'm using Umbral Intensify is because I personally find it way better than Precision Intensify, since it gives you only 15 on like R0, but it gives you 90. I tested this a bit. I personally didn't like it, and I found Umbral Intensify just to be way stronger. So this is what I'm rocking. You can run Precision Intensify if you like, but personally, I rather this. Now, Archon Continuity. So, you know how I said the ball has built-in toxin, and we are going with a 1 tile green shard for corrosive stacks? So, if they live the initial contact of the ball whacking them in the face, Archon Continuity will trigger, and then applies corrosive to them and just kills them. Now, that is if they live the original hit. I'm just gonna say, not a lot of enemies do. So all in all, to just like summarize this build, if you stay invis, you spam ball, you apply roar, you bounce on mushrooms for energy, and you just watch a ball whack people in the face. Now, a little thing I should mention about this ball. Each bounce, this ball scales damage. So keep that in mind. So you can hit into tens of thousands of damage. So this is really big fuck off damage numbers. I think the most I hit on stream was 16 mil. And then that was, I probably hit higher. Those are so many numbers, but I saw 16 mil. And I was just like, interesting. So keep that in mind. But like I said, if you want to stay invis to always have that damage buff from the invis up, please put ensnare instead of roar on your free. Yeah, we'll go with that. But all in all, that's the general overlook of the build, and we will go into my favorite testing mode to showcase. So you know how I said mushroom generates energy? Just jump on it a few times. Now, I am in the way of it. I am sorry. But this generates energy fairly fast. So basically saves you an energy pad. So this is on Steel Path. I was trying to change my weapons, but I accidentally cost my 2 instead. So I'm gonna just give you a little heads up. I won't be grouping anything, as I personally just want to stay invis so you can see how much of a damage buff invis gives you. Alright, we shall start. Thank God for auto
Life
breach.
support has been cut off. They're trying to choke you out.
Alrighty.
I'm sending auxiliary
So
life support.
we apply roar, and then we just spray the ball. Now as you can tell, they die off a few bounces. And like I said, the ball scales, so they will die pretty quickly. And you can have multiple balls on the field. Now I'm out of energy. Where's my mushroom? Oopsies. Here we go. Alright, that's enough. There's a lot of them in there. It's really annoying to jump on this sometimes, but there. Full energy already. And then more bounce. More ball bounce. Now, this is a pretty fun ball spam build. You're literally just spam your ball,
for a capsule.
and you call it good. And that's about it. Now, I'm just gonna slay the enemy here with the big shroom, so your 1 shroom, just so they can get slayed and put to sleep. Also, fun little tidbit. If you throw your ball on your second stream and have like two to 3 of them, it counts as you jumping on it, so it'll regen energy.
I delivered a life
It is
support
really
capsule to
nice.
the area. Activating it will buy you more
Now,
time.
this might not be everyone's cup of tea, but it's definitely just very goofy, very fun. And surprisingly, very powerful. See, that's 11 mil right over there. But yeah, as you can tell, they are not living through the original contact. If they do, the ball just bounces on them again. And then Archon continuity always struts. So it's pretty powerful. Especially in choke points, as you're seeing. And I'm just gonna throw this shroom down here. And throw this over there. And throw one over here. But yeah, you'll have a way to always sustain your energy through the mushroom, your 2 mushrooms. So you're never really running out of energy, and
Life support incoming.
the way this fucking ball nukes enemies, yeah, you're always gonna have energy just from killing the enemy. It's really fun, really good. A wee bit too strong in my opinion. Because keep in mind, we do get armor strip through Archon continuity. Through the ball as well.
Additional life support
So,
has arrived.
it's pretty powerful. And I am just really chilling, not really doing much. But no, this is a good map to show you. Just mainly because we're at a checkpoint. And it's just really nice in a checkpoint to have. If you're not always going to be in a checkpoint there, so that's why you want to rock the grouping tool. Or chorus and snare. It really is up to your user anyways. But yeah, if you do wish to run weapons, I would figure out a way to keep some form of a damage buff outside of roar if you want to run weapons, but as you can tell, you're not really needing that. Now, I was about to say, if this is violence, I'm gonna cry. And yes, this can basically nuke an acolyte with 1 to 2 hits from the ball. I hope you enjoyed the build. Sorry about my scuff. My scuff is always in the video. So I hope you enjoyed the scuff as much as you enjoyed me showing you how Nokko throws a ball at an enemy and nukes them. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the build. Maybe I'll see you in stream. Give me a word at twitch.tv. Very small light. But yeah, no, hopefully you enjoyed the build. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know how you build Nokko. And yeah. Alright, I'm gonna leave you and love you. I'll see you when I upload next. Alright, bye-bye!